Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 113 is finally out with a beautiful cover of the Death Ranger on there, and you have the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the visor, which is a very interesting cover because the Death Ranger isn't really the focus of this month's issue. He's got one scene in this issue, but it's not a big important scene. But it could be setting up something later for the character later down the line. But either way, it's a gorgeous cover. So Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 113 picks up where the last issue left off on, where Billy had received the power rags from Grace Sterling, and this issue mostly focuses on Billy and his adventures with the Draken Rangers in this issue. But we also get to see the Hyperforce Rangers as well in this issue. The Dino Charge Rangers show up in this issue as well. But not only that, you also get a little Dark Specter and Rita doing some plotting as well. So let's take it from the top and talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 113. So the issue starts off in another dimension, that being Amber Beach Dinosaur Zoo. That's right, we're starting in the Dino Charge dimension for this issue. And the first thing we see is Miss Kendall Morgan looking at the computers and realizing that something has gone wrong with the Morphin grid, and she's trying to figure out what's going on. So she tells the other Rangers not to morph, and Tyler's like, hey, we can't do that, like, morphing is whole part of being a Ranger. And then suddenly an alert goes off, and Mistress Vile and Dark Specter have invaded their universe. They're coming through, and the Rangers quickly jump to action, and seeing how there's a threat involved, they quickly decide to morph, Tyler ignoring her orders. The only one who don't morph in this situation is Shelby and Ivan. Now, while this is going on, you have Keeper coming, I meant to say Keeper, but I said Creeper. You've got Keeper looking like a creeper coming in, possessed by, I guess, Mistress Vile. He's been taken over as well in some kind of situation, but he starts attacking Kendall, and things don't look good for her. We're kind of left on this ominous cliffhanger if she's okay or not in this issue. But when the Dino Charge Rangers morph, they are quickly possessed by Dark Specter's energy, becoming evil Rangers, now taken over by their influence. So now the Dino Charge Rangers have turned evil. And while this is going on, Mistress Vile says to Dark Specter, saying, as promised, everything will be yours. So this is really great that we're actually visiting other dimensions in the Power Rangers universe, or other timelines and stuff like that. So it looks like we're getting another Shattered Grid situation where we're going to be jumping through other Ranger timelines and stuff like that, and seeing what other seasons are up to. Now, I'm wondering if we're going to visit RPM, because they're another dimension as well. So who knows if we'll be doing a little bit of time traveling, but it looks like we'll be seeing other Rangers from other dimensions in this upcoming story arc. And I couldn't be even more excited, because that means we're going to have different Rangers playing a role in this story, much like Shattered Grid. So fingers crossed, Jen might show up in the story arc as well. So Billy then wakes up in a bunker, and there's a bunch of soldiers running around. There's a bunch of people in this bunker, and Torona's there as well. And apparently there's some kind of monster attack going on right now. And there's an interesting back and forth between Torona and one of the soldiers, as he says that we've got a lot of refugees. Some of them aren't even American citizens, they aren't even human, so they're not our priority, which is an interesting conversation to have in this comic, because this is years before SPD takes place, and then you've got this one soldier guy going, hey, these guys aren't human, they're not American, I don't give a fuck, who cares about them, so screw them. So that's an interesting insight to see how this one soldier kind of views like alien life force sort of taking refuge on this planet with everything going on, compared to SPD, where years later down the line where you have humans and aliens living side by side. So it's an interesting contrast to see where the world is at during the Mighty Morphin era and where it's going to be later down the line. So that's just like food for thought right there. So Billy soon catches up with Torona and gives him the news that Grace is dead, and he's shocked to hear it. But hearing that there's a monster attack, Billy soon jumps into action, and he tells Torona saying, hey, tell Tommy I'm coming. And Torona goes, Billy, those aren't your Rangers. And then we cut to the next page, and we've got Mummy Longlegs from Poppy Playhouse fighting against all the soldiers, and Billy quickly jumps into action. And I gotta say, this Mummy Longlegs, this gooey, stretchy, weird-looking monster thing is freaky. It is just freaky looking. Like, the gums are sort of like bleeding into the mouth and stuff like that. It's got gross yellow teeth. It's got big yellow eyes. It's scary looking. It is freaky looking. Props to the artist who drew that design. It looks freaking terrifying and I love it. Oh, it's freaky. So, Billy fights it along with the Frolls, but suddenly the Draken Rangers jump in, that being Kia and Scorpina. And you see how things are handled very differently in this fight. Our Billy wants to pull the arms in a different direction, and as they're pulling it apart, Billy says on free, let go, but Kia quickly jumps into free, and then Scorpina just like decapitates the monster. So it shows that the Draken Rangers do things very differently compared to Billy, where Billy had this big, probably elaborate plan planned out, and the Draken Rangers are like, screw it, we're going to cut its head off, we're going to do things by brute force. So Billy is soon realized that he's talking to Kia right now, but I do like the banter that Scorpina and Kia have, how Billy's gotten taller, and Billy has no idea that he's in Angel Grove. He thinks he's in another dimension right now with everything going on, but that's not the case, as Kia soon tells him, saying, hey, you're home right now. And the whole reason why this is happening is because ever since the Darkest Hour took place and like no Rangers have been around, Finster has sort of turned Earth into sort of like his monster sort of creating grounds, and that's why he's creating all these monsters on Earth. So he's sort of turned into like a base where he can build his forces. So Billy reunites with Zordon and World of the Coinless Trini, and I love the banter here again where Scorpina is looking a little jealous that she's given Billy a hug, and Kia is right there to give her shit by saying, hey, you're looking a little green right there, and Scorpina just replies with, shut up, it's better than looking blue all the time, which, God, I love the banter and back and forth between these two. It's so much fun. Like, the writing that Melissa's doing for these two characters is lovely. It's fun. But it also shows there's some kind of romance between Trini and Scorpina. It looks like they've got feelings for each other, and that kind of is brought up again near the end of the issue. So it looks like there's some kind of relationship between World of the Coinless Trini and Scorpina, which is interesting. I never thought they would actually get together. Maybe the signs were there the whole time, but it looks like there's some kind of romance there between the two characters. So I wonder where that's going to go moving forward. So we soon learn from Coinless Bulk that when Mistress Vile and Dark Specter invaded the Morphin grid, a bomb went off, you could say, and sucked everyone through the Master Arch, which is why everyone got separated, and you had the Draken Rangers along with Yale and Kevor, who ended up on Earth along with a bunch of safe haven aliens, which is why we had the alien refugees earlier on at the start of the issue. So Billy then starts asking, saying, hey, how can you guys morph again? And then suddenly Draken walks in, talking shit, saying that he was surprised that Billy was the one who survived. And Billy is ready to throw hands. He morphs, he blasts Draken with the Blade Blaster, and Draken does some Matrix maneuvers right there, which I'm surprised he can bend like that looking at him, like, dang, those knees. But Draken gets a good punch in, and Billy gets a good stab in with the lance. And Scorpina and Trini have to break it up. And you've got Billy being held back by Kia and Bulk, and you've got Draken being held back by Trini and Scorpina, and they're raring to go. And I like it how Kia's like, hey, you stabbed the guy. That's more I ever got. Quit while you're ahead. And Draken's like, I'll kill him. He's dead. And one thing I love about this is on the next page, where Draken's like, he impaled me. I don't like getting impaled. Really, Draken, the guy who's impaled several people through several years of this comics run, who is probably known for impaling people, doesn't like getting impaled. He guess when the shoe's on the other foot, he doesn't like it, but Trini goes, hey, if you hurt him, I'll kill you myself. So Zordon tells them to calm down because they've got bigger things afoot. They gotta work together. After that, we then cut the safe haven, and we have Mistress Vile talking the Dark Specter, who's sitting on this really badass throne right now. And he learns that their infection is growing, it's getting stronger, and with a single morph, the Rangers will be infected by their influence, by their power, and it's even stronger than what the Death Ranger can do. And the Death Ranger's like, but my Rangers! And Dark Specter's like, hey, I gave you your powers, and I can take it away. So the Death Ranger here is kind of made look like a bitch, because the Death Ranger was this big threat in charge to 100. Here, on the power pole, on the totem pole, they're at the bottom when it comes to Dark Specter. They're not at the bottom, but they're not at the top anymore, so they've been knocked down a few pegs right now. So, readers like, we have truly taken the power for ourselves, and Dark Specter's like, hey, well, there is no we. This victory is mine, and mine alone. The power you got from me, the power you have, came from me. And while this is going on, you've got everyone watching in shock. It looks like they're even scared to watch. It looks like Dane isn't even watching. He's turning his head to the side. But that's just Dane's design in general. But Mistress Vile is put in her place as Dark Specter says, hey, you serve me, and we will not rest until the Morphin grid belongs to me. So Dark Specter is doing this all-for-one thing going on right now. I'm a one-man army. Everyone serves me. It all belongs to me with everything going on. So, yeah, you kind of see this new dynamic between Mistress Vile and Dark Specter, where she spent her whole life trying to summon Dark Specter. And like Grace said, he'll treat you like everyone else as a pawn. And we've already seen that already, so it looks like Grace was right in the end, and Dark Specter is just using her as a pawn, as another means to get the power that he needs to control the Morphin grid. But it looks like they're going to go off finding more Rangers, which I wonder where they're going to go, which, knowing the solicitations, I get the feeling where they're going to go. But I'm excited to see like Dark Specter actually fight in Zordon's body, and we can actually get a glimpse of his power and the destruction he can cause. So after that, we then cut to the Hyperforce Rangers, who happen to save Kendall from whatever was happening. And the Hyperforce Rangers have been getting a call from someone who they don't like. Who that person is? Well, it's none other than Draken. And if you've seen Hyperforce before, then you know the relationship that the Hyperforce Rangers have with Draken. But these couple of pages were a lot of fun, because you've got Eddie geeking out over Billy, again talking about a Hyperforce episode where he met Aisha in that one, and Vesper's telling him to calm down, which is a lot of fun. But Draken's requested the Hyperforce Rangers to find 6 specific Rangers, and trying to find 6 specific Rangers, as Eddie puts it, is finding a needle through a haystack. Who are these 6 specific Rangers that Draken wants the Hyperforce Rangers to find? Well, I'm guessing it's the Mighty Morphin team, no doubt about it. So our heroes swing at the 411 with everything going on, and they realize that they need to form numbers, because they're safer in numbers, and they need to find as many Rangers as they can to combat Mistress Vile and Dark Specter. So I'm really hoping that we're going to see an army of Rangers in this final arc, where we get this big confrontational showdown between all of these Rangers and Dark Specter. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I do wonder what other Rangers we're going to find out there in Darkest Hour. So fingers crossed we'll see some more Ranger teams showing up in this book moving forward. So seeing how they've got to find the 6 specific Rangers, but not only that, they've also got to gather as many allies that they can find, many as Rangers that they can find, they've got to start looking, and they've got to go through the Morphin grid, but they don't know where to start looking. But Billy said that he's got a plan. So they go back to where that Master Arch was a couple of issues ago, and Finster is there guarding it, but they quickly scare him off. And this is where we get some tension between Coinless Trini and Billy, where Billy had been giving her the silent treatment. And the whole reason why Billy's upset is because she's teaming up with Kia, Scorpina, and of course Draken. And this is where I said you can sort of see possibly the relationship between Trini and Scorpina, because Trini is quick to defend her and says, hey, leave Scorpina out of this because I trust her. And Billy's like, are you kidding? She's evil. The Trini I know would never do that. And Coinless Trini says, I'm not the Trini you know. Our world has gone to shit. We've lost Kimberly, we've lost Zach, we've lost everyone else we've cared about, including you. And then she goes on the same. This is a really good, like, back and forth between the two of them. And she goes to Billy saying, I know it doesn't make sense to you, and you still see the world as good and evil. And Draken is an evil piece of crap, but right now, this isn't about good or evil. It's about survival. And that's what it's always been about when it comes to the Coinless. It's always been about survival. Good, evil, it doesn't always matter to them. And right now in the story arc, it's about survival. And that's like, I like that point of view that she's got. So she then goes on to say to Billy saying, and I'm making the choices I never thought you'd have to make. And they soon come to an agreement. So Billy's got the plan, he's got the power eggs, and this is where we learn that the power eggs have something very interesting inside of them. So Billy goes, these are the power eggs. Zordon once said they contain the power of the universe inside of them, and they belong to the Morphin Masters. Grace found them and gave them to me. So what Billy's going to do is he's going to lay up the eggs against the Master Arch, and as they morph, it should hopefully power up the Arch. So we get Trini, we get Billy morphing, but as they morph, suddenly a big explosion happens, and on the final page, you have the Phantom Ranger pointing his gun at Billy saying, what have you done? So that's where 113 ends off on, with the Phantom Ranger, and it was a really cool cliffhanger. I was not expecting to turn the page and see the Phantom Ranger back. And I had the feeling that we'd see the Phantom Ranger again, but I wasn't expecting him to see him so soon. But now that he's here, and he's coming face to face with Billy with like a barrel in his face, I am curious to see what the Phantom Ranger's role is going to be moving forward in this upcoming story arc, and how he's going to assist the Rangers, because the Phantom Ranger is connected to Dark Specter from Power Rangers Universe all those years ago, so we've got that history there. But it's cool to finally see him here. Now, I do wonder how he's going to help the Rangers moving forward, and how did he just show up out of nowhere here? Like, he just blasted his way through it, and there's going to be a reason why he's here, because he's questioning, what have you done, to Billy as he's pointing the gun at him. So I get the feeling that he might have got here a little bit too late, and he probably thinks that Billy might have been the one that activated the Arch and caused all this, or something. I don't know, but it's cool to see the Phantom Ranger here, and I do wonder what's going to happen with this guy moving forward. But anyway, guys, that was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 113. Once again, Melissa is killing it. Another solid issue, another freaking fantastic issue, and I can't wait to see where the comic is going to go next in November with 114, so I'm really, really excited to read that. So, with that said, I'm out of here. Have a wonderful day or night. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out, take care, and bye.